So, you want to watch anime. When I say the word anime, I'm sure that a lot of you have a very similar vision in mind. Weird cartoons with big eyes, blowing each other up and screaming at the top of their lungs, ninjas running around with spiky hair, and girls with cleavage that could put the Grand Canyon to shame. And we all know that one anime kid from middle school, the one that would always wear a Naruto headband, running around with his arms thrown behind his back, swearing that he could control demons, and not only that, but that he could totally go Super Saiyan 3. That's typically what comes to mind for people who aren't really into anime and don't know a whole lot about it. And hey, that might even be you. But that's definitely not all there is to it. The definition of anime is something that is constantly being debated, but in the most basic sense of the word, anime is animation created within Japanese culture that can appeal to both adults and kids. There's loads of various styles and genres within what is called anime, and over the course of this video, I'm going to try my best to present you with a number of options that I believe are easily accessible to anybody looking to get into anime. First up on our list is the apocalypse horror genre. For this genre, I decided that Attack on Titan was a great choice. Attack on Titan is about a group of villagers that live within these walls, hiding from the outside. What's on the outside are these titans, these crazy feral monsters that eat the humans. In a lot of ways, you could compare this to The Walking Dead. In fact, a lot of people do compare this to The Walking Dead. The dynamics that you've got between the characters, and then throw in what's on the outside of these walls and the constant threat of impending doom, you've got a very tense show. It'll keep you on the edge of your seat. You never know what's coming. Each character is constantly facing the threat of their demise. There's blood, there's gore, there's violence. Watching the relationships grow between these characters is interesting as well. I think this is a perfect fit for anybody looking to get into apocalypse or horror anime. Next up on the list is the adventure/action genre, and I thought that there was no better choice for the adventure and action genre than One Piece. One Piece is the story of a young man named Monkey D. Luffy who dreams of becoming the king of the pirates. He wants to go out and find Gold Roger's treasure and become the head honcho of the pirating world. And along the way, he finds an entire crew of people that all have similar goals in mind. And I honestly think that One Piece absolutely does just embody everything that action and adventure is all about. You've got great fights and you've got exploration for days. This series is still ongoing and I cannot recommend it enough. It is a huge undertaking. There's hundreds and hundreds of episodes out there to watch, but I guarantee you it's not going to be something that you regret. Next up on the list is going to be the giant robots/mecha genre. And I don't think that there's a show that quite does giant robots and mecha the way that Gurren Lagann does. This is, I think, one of the best robot anime that I've ever seen. You do obviously have things like Gundam out there, even Neon Genesis Evangelion, but the way that Gurren Lagann presents itself is very lighthearted, and it's not as dark as some of these other mecha anime can be. It's very comedic, it's quick-witted, it carries itself in a very bright way, but at the same time it still has all of the crazy robot fights that you would expect from a series in this genre. So I definitely think that this is a great first step into the anime world for someone that really wants to step into that classic giant mech robot style of anime. Continuing on now, we're going to take a look at my pick for the romance genre. The romance genre is another one of those genres that could go on for days and days. I think probably besides action-adventure, it is one of the largest genre of anime that you could find. But my selection for the romance genre is Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice is no doubt one of the most popular anime of the last year or so. It's phenomenal. Yuri on Ice is the story of young ice skater Yuri Katsuki and his journey to redemption after a miserable defeat at the Grand Prix finals. Along the way, Yuri meets legendary skater Viktor Nikiforov, and the whole story is Victor and Yuri getting to know each other, growing to care about each other, and also their journey back to the finals to see Yuri take another shot at winning first place, winning gold, and cementing himself as the legendary skater that he very much is. There are problems with this anime, just as there are with any romance title, but I think, number one, it is a pretty strong step forward for LGBT representation in anime, and number two, it is just a strong step forward for romance anime as a whole. Quite frankly, it's phenomenal. The production was great. At times, of course, you'll see where it's not as good as it could be, but honestly, this I can't say enough good things about Yuri on Ice, and I think that anybody looking for a good romance story with a little bit of beautiful boys doing things exceptionally well is going to enjoy Yuri on Ice. Next up on our countdown, if you want to call it a countdown, is our fighting genre. And anybody that knows me or has spoken to me recently knows exactly what I'm about to recommend to you all, and that is My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is the story of a young man named Izuku Midoriya who is born regular in a world where everybody is born with superpowers. Being born without a superpower is the abnormal. So we see this kid go from zero to hero when he is chosen as the successor for the legendary All Might, and this is just a phenomenal series. The fights could not get better. I mean, they are chock full of beautiful animation. The voice acting is superb in both English and in Japanese. I really cannot speak highly enough about the show. If you want to hear more of my thoughts about My Hero Academia, I have another video here on my channel where I give you a quick rundown of just why you should watch this show and how important it really is. I think that really you could put a lot of great titles here in this spot for the fighting genre, but I do think that the most accessible title out there right now is My Hero Academia. It's not as in your face as some of the fighting titles can be. It is, in a lot of ways, it is exactly what I think a fighting anime should be. It's a great story, highlighted by fights, highlighted by action. But I absolutely think that anybody should watch My Hero Academia, not just if you're looking for a fighting anime, but in general. If you don't watch anything else that's on this list, or if you don't think that anything else seems like a great fit for you, I promise you, give this show a chance, you're not going to regret it. Moving right along, we reach our sci-fi genre. There's loads of great sci-fi anime out there, but I think that one of the be-all end-alls of sci-fi anime is Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop, you could say, is almost an anime version of Guardians of the Galaxy, if I had to compare it to something a little more mainstream, or a little more Western, I should say. Cowboy Bebop is the story of this bounty hunter named Spike and his journeys through the galaxy. I can't give a whole lot away, but I promise you, if you give this show just a little bit of your time, it'll get you hooked, and you'll keep coming back. And plus, if you spent any time watching Cartoon Network as a kid in the late 90s and 2000s like I did, if you watch the English dub, you're going to immediately fall in love with Spike because he's voiced by none other than Tom from Toonami, Mr. Stephen Bloom himself. So, absolutely, check out Cowboy Bebop. Give it a shot. It's one of those shows that's just as good in English, if not better, than it is in Japanese. It's super accessible. It's not super long. You could probably get through it in 1 or 2 sittings if you were so inclined. But absolutely, that is my pick for the sci-fi genre. Moving into our final genre is the fantasy genre, and for fantasy I decided that I was going to cheat a little bit here and select Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z for the fantasy genre. Now I know a lot of people are sitting here thinking, wait a minute, isn't Dragon Ball the show with the spiky hair and the yelling and the screaming, and isn't it a fighting show? Don't they beat each other up? And they absolutely do, they beat the crap out of each other. But Dragon Ball / Dragon Ball Z is everything that I think a good fantasy anime should be. There's exploration, there's discovery, there's creatures from different planets, there's aliens, you've got a lady that rides around on a crystal ball, a man that lives in a turtle shell. This is, in my opinion, the epitome of a great fantasy exploration type show. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an absolute sucker for Dragon Ball. I do think that it is right there at the top of some of the best anime or manga of all time. And finally, before we wrap things up, I'm going to say that our next genre, our 8th genre today, is movies. One of the best ways that I think you could get into anime is a good movie. And what comes to mind for me immediately is Studio Ghibli. Those movies, if you haven't seen them, are some of the most fantastic and heartwarming things you'll ever see. Ponyo, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, just to name a few. They bring you right into this magical world in a way that only these movies can do. I can't quite describe the magic that these movies have about them, but if I had to compare it to something, I would say that it's the same kind of feeling that I imagine a kid would get when they walked into the gates at Disney World. It is unreal, and I absolutely recommend these movies to anybody, anime fan or not. These are fantastic films, not just as anime films, not just as a cartoon or something like that. This is top-notch animation, this is top-notch production by these folks at Studio Ghibli, and you should absolutely stop what you're doing and go check out one of these movies, no doubt in my mind. That's going to do it for this video, folks. I hope you found something here that you think you can enjoy. These are some of my personal favorites. These are things that I've watched more than once. These are things that I'm currently watching. And I hope that something on this list reaches out and grabs you the way that they grabbed me. Anime is a fantastic thing. It is so broad, it is so big, and it is so inviting. No matter what the fans out there might say, of course, like any fan base, there are toxic people, but this is a beautiful, beautiful thing to invest yourself in. The stories that these titles will tell, and the things that we can learn from, an animation. Anime is definitely something special. I hope that you all have a fantastic day. I thank you for watching. If you like this video, I ask you that you please drop a like down there below. Leave a comment if you know of another anime or even a manga that someone could use to get into the world of anime. And I hope that you'll subscribe to see more content as I put it out. Thank you again for watching, everybody. See you next time.